4.86% increase each year over the next 2 years, which is above the state caps.
Right.
It would have been above the state caps if he had counted everything in the
That's
past
correct.
biennium. Clearly we know who's doing okay. Municipalities are doing okay. The counties are doing okay. The school districts, 80% of our school districts went over their caps, some by 40, 50%. In the state, the one we never talk about.
Right.
Because we never talk about the state's contribution to an LD1 thing, because they haven't made any contribution. They keep sucking up money to beat the band. So.
Yeah. So I'm not optimistic. You know, you're telling me, oh, everybody heard the message, but, you know, tell me about some of the bills that are in front of your committee right now that will provide tax relief if they are passed.
Well, I'm not sure there's a bill that would provide tax relief across the board. There are bills that are means tested, like an enhancements of the circuit breaker program. And as we all know, that doesn't affect everyone. I mean, so I'm not sure that there are plenty of new exemptions being proposed. And we're, as a committee, we're taking those and setting them aside. Because if you're going to have tax reform, you have to have a code that you're familiar with that's existing. Freeze it there, work on what you know, and then if you're going to start creating more exemptions, you have to work on that afterwards. And we've been trying to encourage the committee, if you create more exemptions, find a way to pay for them.
There are some bills, Joe, that would be dramatically reducing revenue. Mike Vaughn's bill, I think.
That's the
Doug
one that
Smith,
reduces income tax rates
over 3 or 5 years by
Yep.
50. Doug's got
Yep.
one that takes it down by 50. Doug Smith that takes it down by 50% immediately.
Yep.
So it's not that there aren't bills. Are these bills? Do these bills have any hope of going anyplace? The answer is no. In that case, we don't have a majority in either the House or the Senate. We just don't have enough votes. So we're working outside of those, assuming they don't have a chance.
So we talk about circuit breaker. We know that if you make less than $100,000 a year, you can apply if your property taxes exceed 5% or 4%.
4% you get some, and then 6% you get a bigger benefit. Yeah,
Okay.
So 5.
Why do we have to fill out a separate form to get that property tax relief? Why can we not just, when we fill out our state income tax form, say, all right, state, here's my property taxes, here's my income, you figure it out and send me the check?
It's a logistical nightmare as far as when there's some overlap there. And it's going to cause one program as it exists now to bump into the other, and there's going to be something like 6 months worth of overlap. The committee is looking at that and trying to come to grips with how to implement it. I feel fairly optimistic that something will happen this year.
Really?
The circuit breaker is targeted tax relief,
Yep.
which seems to be generally very popular with both Republicans and Democrats. So there's going to be attempts to make it bigger, and we need to talk about an hour to figure out to talk about that. But the other thing is making it more useful. We think we have 240,000 possible beneficiaries. Only 92,000 are benefiting from it. The average benefit.
But isn't that by
$1.
design? Isn't that by
Well,
design that you throw this program out there and you say, well, I hope not everybody signs up for it because that would cost me more than what it's
I
what
think
I have
it's
budgeted.
partly by design, but we're not sure that even if we were to lump it with our income tax, we still have a huge group of people, a fairly large group of people that don't file income taxes, for instance. So we think that lumping it together would improve it. Is it going to? How much is it going to eat into that total eligible? We don't know.
Well, and I've always maintained that if you increase the homestead and don't leave that as a burden to the towns, fully fund the homestead exemption, then the burden of proof is much lower. You don't have to apply every year, and it's something that's available to people because they are residents. They're 6 months plus a day.
But the homestead
Right.
exemption is 50% funded by the municipality.
Well, that's what Randy's saying. Fund it fully.
Right,
Fund it.
because the state says, well, we're going to give you property tax relief. You guys, here's what we want you to do. You go give property tax relief at the local level,
Right. And here's, of course,
and have your property taxes pay for it.
for a municipal
Exactly.
official, here's the other argument we hear up here is that, well, once they got the homestead exemption, for the first year, people might notice it, but after that, it just gets sucked up, and nobody even
That's
knows.
absolutely true.
And they're still complaining about property taxes.
Right.
And even though they get it every year, the state pays, whether it's half or fully, it's gone. Property tax relief has just disappeared.
As a result of LD1 and the increase, the so-called increase in the homestead, which didn't mean the state was laying out any more money for it, I have been to several of the select boards in my district, and they've said, what is this?
Right.
It was meant, I'm sure, to be a shift, but all we're going to do is take that cost and spread it across the mill rate.
Right.
So it's the net gain of zero, virtually.
Or for those communities that aren't homogeneous, where you have business property or large landowners, they pick up, it gets shifted to them. So,
Right.
it's more of what we're good at. Yes.
I'm Joe Bruno, the chair of the Maine Republican Party. I'm joined today by Senator Richard Nass from Acton, Representative Randy Hotham from Dixfield, the House and the Senate Republican leads on the Taxation Committee. There's so much we have to talk about. You piqued my curiosity on a lot of things, but I'm not optimistic about tax relief. That's the message. The last time we really had tax relief in the state was back in 1995, and that's when the Republicans were in charge. And it's sad to me that for 10 straight years since then, our tax burden has remained #1 in the state, in the country, in the nation. And, that's a sad commentary. So we need to let people know that they need to contact you in the Senate, 287-1505,
Thank you.
in the House, 287-1440.
Right.
I still remember those numbers. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Joe.
As the session moves on, we really want to continue this discussion on tax relief versus tax reform, and have we reduced the tax burden at all? And for you folks at home, you could go to www.mainegop.com, look at this program. You can watch it on your local cable station, and feel free to email me at any time at joe@mainegop.com. Thank you for watching.